And I think, sometimes we lose our way in communicating with our spouse, right? And so somebody's asking a question here around how they can improve their communication and ways that they can get their husband to understand them better.
Okay,
What more you want to add to that?
I can help you better by directing you to Pastor K's YouTube channel. If it's a wife, there's a video called Why Your Husband Is Not Talking to You.
Why your husband is not talking to you.
If it's a wife. Then for the men, I think it's important that you listen more. Women just want to feel heard. Sometimes we don't even care if you take our opinion or not. Sometimes, not all the time. It's just the fact that you listen. Not just to the things she's saying, but the things she's not saying. So her body language, when she's upset about something, should tell you she doesn't like that thing. She doesn't always have to say. In fact, if a woman tells you something, you've lost points.
Wow.
Right? If you figure it out on your own, that's major points for you.
Okay.
Yes. So
it's interesting you say that. Many years ago, when my wife and I used to be together, because my wife is on the quiet side. And so sometimes I can read that something, when we're going out, I can read that something is not wrong. And I'll say, look, the Lord reveals a lot of things to me, but he might not reveal what it is that is making you unhappy. So you kind of need to tell me so that I can respond, I can take action, I can do something about it. Now, these days, I think I could generally pick a couple of things, but sometimes I still need to ask the question, what exactly is the thing? Because maybe there are many sins I've committed. I need to know which one is the one, right? So maybe I'm asking for myself. I'm asking for a friend. Do we still need to ask what is going on? Or, because you said, if you figure it out, more brownie points for you. But the men, if they don't know, they should still ask now.
Oh, yes, it's important to ask. However, after some time, you should know the things that upset your wife and things that don't. So when I say, if you figure it out, it's things she has said before or things that she has been hammering on for a long time.
Yeah.
Having her repeat it all over again is no point. But I'll give you, so it's important that you have those conversations. Like, what's really going on now? Which one are you, because my husband will ask, which one are you upset about? Because I can be upset about a lot of things. And when I first got married, I wasn't this vocal at all. I think I just became more vocal about maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
All right.
I was very, very quiet. Contrary to what a lot of people think, I'm very introverted. So my husband is the more outgoing. I mean, from all the spending, all the things he's doing, all the fun things, he's the, let's go bungee jumping, let's do power bike, and I would just tag along. I've always just been that. If it's not killing anybody, if it's not hurting anybody, if it makes him happy, let's just do it, And I was taking in a lot without saying, just let it go, let it go. But I found out that what that can also do to you, if you're that kind of person, is that when you get much older, what would happen is you'll be bitter because you never got to enjoy yourself in marriage. The Bible says 2 are better than 1, for they receive a reward for their labor. So both of them get a reward. It's not one person that gets a reward. So it's important that you speak up if you don't like something. And I always tell women that men don't read minds, they read newspapers. So you have to be explicit. Say, this is what is going on in my mind. This is what, and a lot of times men think that the woman is upset about something and it's not that thing. That's why you still must have those conversations. Just to be sure. I think this is what is upsetting you, but is that what I did wrong? And just encourage her to speak. And if you're married to someone who's quiet or who doesn't like confrontation, if they're trying to tell you something and you either interrupt or you shut them down, they will recoil. They're most likely not going to say anything again. So that part of communicating where you're listening more than you're speaking is even important.
And I think, I recognize what you're saying there about sometimes when people are trying to express themselves in a marriage and the other person isn't listening, they just enter this zone of, I'm not going to even bother saying anything again. And even though things are getting worse and worse, they're just piling it up on the inside and not expressing that. And then one day...
So one day they will either explode or they just finally stonewall you and just leave the marriage. Like they're just done. Whether you make amends or they're not interested, they're done.
And people shouldn't let it ever get to that level.
Oh, that's the most dangerous part. When it gets to that point, it's very dangerous because usually it's very hard to get back from.